guys, so today I'm going to be doing a highlighting and contouring video. It was a request from a subscriber, so I thank you for requesting this video. Actually, whenever you requested this video, I was like, okay, I don't want this to be a boring video because I pretty much include my contouring and highlighting in every single video that I do. Well, not every single video, but majority of my videos I include it in. So I was trying to figure out what I could do to make this different so that you guys can actually learn something new and see something different from me. So I had the idea of going on ahead and doing a highlighting and contouring do's and don'ts video, and everything that I do in this video is from my personal experience and things that I have done. These are things that I've actually done probably a couple months ago, so I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys my highlighting and contouring mistakes, and if you guys make any of these mistakes, then you might be able to watch this video and help correct it yourselves. So just for the start, since this is a highlighting and contouring video, I've already applied my foundation and my primers and everything. I did use this Shae Moisture foundation primer that I used in my last video. It is so hydrating and it really makes my skin feel really nice. So I did go over it with my Inglot mattifying under makeup base. Just to kind of matte out a few pores around my nose area and my mouth. And then for my foundation, I used my True Match Lumi foundation in the shade C6. So one thing that you want to remember when you're doing your highlighting and contouring is your skin type. And I'm not saying skin type as in like dry skin, oily skin, or combination skin. I'm saying it as in, do you have cooler undertones or do you have warmer undertones? So for me, I have a little bit of cooler undertones, so if I try and use a concealer that has warm undertones, it's just going to make my under eyes look orangey or too dark, and it's just going to look really sunken in. So I have to be very mindful of what concealer I use under my eyes or anywhere on my face for that matter, since I am cool tone. So on this side, I'm going to do the don't part, and then on this side, I'm going to do the do part. So on my right side, I'm going to apply my concealer. This is, actually I'm just going to go ahead and conceal first. I'm just going to do this on both sides because this really doesn't have anything to do with contouring or highlighting. This is just kind of concealing blemishes or under eye darkness that I currently have. And I pretty much do this all the time. It's just an extra coverage, and also the little red wagon is here, so it brought a friend. I'm just gonna go ahead and all of the areas where I had some darkness and discoloration, I'm just gonna go ahead and buff that in. Alright, so on to it. So first I'm gonna go in with the do side, and I'm gonna use my Cool Tan concealer by LA Girl, and I use this because yes, it is a cool tone color and it really goes nicely with my skin tone, and it really just blends really seamlessly. Whenever I use a color that is cooler and it still has a yellow undertone, it looks really nicely against my skin because as you can see, I don't have reddish undertones, I have cooler undertones. So, and also with your concealer, if you are trying to have extra coverage, then I would suggest putting it all over. But honestly, with your highlighting, you don't need as much product as you think. So I'm just going to apply this much right here and stop right there at the corner of my eye. So that's as much concealer as I'm going to do. And then sometimes I like to bring it up towards the corner of my eye, and then also just kind of highlight the side of my nose a little bit. And then just with the same beauty blender that I use for my foundation and other concealer, I'm just gonna tap that in. And sometimes I do like to tap that over my eyes. And since I do have a wider nose, I'm just gonna go ahead and tap that on the side of my nose. Whenever I start to contour, it'll you'll see the importance of this later, but this is just going to help slim out my nose a little bit since it is wide, but just to apply a little bit of highlight on the side of my nose. And then I know a lot of people like to bring their highlight on back. Sometimes I do that, but I always blend it in with my foundation brush. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just bring it back. That way it diffuses as it goes back, and I don't have such a noticeable highlight going back towards my temple. So for me, this is a very subtle highlight. This is kind of what I usually go for. It's not just really in your face and too bright. it actually flows together with my foundation and it just looks really natural. Like, I'm not saying any of this is natural, but just the way that I applied the highlight, it just looks more natural than what you would if you tried to apply a more intense highlight. So for this side, I'm gonna use my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Medium Dark. This is the shade that I bought a few months ago, and I actually liked this concealer when I mixed it with my foundation, but I did not like it by itself because it's way too light for my skin tone. It looks like it's gonna give me a white cast if I try and do a flash test, like take a picture with the flash or whatever. So you see how that's kind of light? I mean, it doesn't look too bright, but just compared to this side is really more subtle. It just had a little bit less of that white cast. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that in so you guys can see the difference. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but this side looks a little bit lighter than what this side looks. I would prefer this side. It looks more natural and everything just flows better together. So that Naked Skin Concealer blended a little too well, only because I had foundation on my blending beauty blender. So I had to go in with the opposite side and just apply a little more. Your contouring, well, first I like to always bronze, and I usually don't do it with creams or anything or concealers, but today I'm just going to show you guys the difference in everything and how everything is set. So just for this side, I'm going to go ahead and use another LA Girl concealer, and this is in the shade Dark Cocoa. And this has a really nice reddy undertone, and the only reason why I like using reddy undertone concealers for this is because it really makes me look like kind of sun-kissed a little bit. I don't know if you guys can tell, but in my normal videos I use a kind of like a reddy color with an orange color just to kind of add some color back into my skin. So this concealer kind of does it for me, so I'm just going to apply that, and I'm not going to apply too much. I applied more than what I should have, but when you start, you want to apply the most product right here at the temple and then work your way down. So I kind of applied a little bit too much as I went down, but just so you know, you need to start up here with the most product and then drag it down. That way it looks diffused and it doesn't look like you applied too much product. So I kind of blended it up a little bit, as you can see, just so everything blends upward. You don't want to bring it down too much because it's going to look kind of muddy if you do, and it's going to defeat the purpose of the contour. So I'm just going to blend that out once again with my beauty blender so you guys can see. And for my nose contour, I would use like a little beauty blender, the little green one, but my son decided that he wanted to chew it up like a little puppy, so I don't have it. You can see the difference between this side and then this side. You can see how nicely that blended out and how natural it looks. And it's not too dark, it's not too light, it just blended really perfectly because this is not actually the contour shade that we're gonna apply. This is kind of like the bronzing shade. So I actually really like how that turned out. It looks really pretty. And then for this side, I'm gonna go in with a darker shade, which a lot of us tend to think that we need darker, like really dark shades in order to get that nice bronzy contour look. I'm gonna go in with another LA Girl concealer, and this is in the shade Mahogany. And this is really dark, and I would use this as a contour shade, but I just know a lot of girls normally go for the dark color first. So this is just a dump that you don't want to do. You really want to go in with a kind of a more bronze color and then your contour color. That just it just blends a lot better when you do it that way. So I'm just gonna apply that, and like I said, I'm gonna do the same technique, start from the top of my cheekbones and then kind of diffuse it out. So if you can see, this color is just way too dark for me. It actually has a kind of like a grayish undertone, which is what you want whenever you contour. I really feel like I should use a different blender because this has already the product of the stuff that I actually do like. But I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this out exactly the same way as I blended the other side out. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, that looks so crazy. It just looks, ugh. The darker color, it doesn't even blend right. It just looks, I don't know. Contour part is what I see a lot, so you want to try and not go too dark with your concealer or anything, or else it's gonna kind of look muddy like this instead of real natural and glowy and just blending well with everything. Alright, so for my face, you guys already know I absolutely love using this Tan to Deep contour kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is my go-to, and this is kind of like what I was talking about with the whole Ready color. It was this color that I always love to apply for my bronzer, and then I love to apply this color right here. Just mix them both. It just gives a really nice, beautiful bronze color for me. I'm going to go in with my F40 Large Angle Contour Brush by Sigma, and I'm just going to mix those two shades together. It's going to kind of act as the powder that I use to set my bronzing color. And then under my eyes, I used another contour kit by Anastasia. You guys know that under my eyes, I usually use drugstore products and everything, and I like using more affordable things as though high-end things, just so you guys can go out and get it yourself and it's easy for you to recreate without breaking the bank. But for today, I really wanted to use these contour kits because I haven't used them in so long. As you can see, I really love going into this shade, and I usually mix it with this banana shade right here if I want a more intense highlight. But if I want a real natural highlight, I usually just do this shade right here. So I am just going to apply that under my eyes with my setting brush by Real Techniques. And I'm just gonna go in with that vanilla looking shade. And I'm also gonna set my eyelid since that part keeps creasing. I'm just gonna drag it down and kind of really blend that part out. This is also a good way if you don't really have a whole bunch of primers and stuff like that. It's really good to use products for more than one purpose, and a concealer is also a great primer for your eyeshadow. And if you ever feel like you apply too much, just find a empty spot on your beauty blender and just press it into your skin. So I really like using this vanilla shade from the regular contour kit, the first one, only because the color that is in this one right here, it looks too light for me. Like, I don't know, just the way the color looks, it just looks like it would be a little bit too light for me. So I actually am going to use that just to show you the don'ts on this side. So I'm going to use that shade to highlight, and then I'm going to use a darker shade to contour. And then I'm just going to use a different brush to contour, but I'm just going to go in with this shade right here, just the espresso shade, and set that contour on this side. Ladies, please do not leave like this side. I'm just begging you. So for me to actually contour, I'm going to go back in with that espresso shade, and I'm just going to use that same brush that I used on this side, and I'm just going to contour over it with my bronzer just to make sure that everything is blended really nicely. And just so all of the powders are really nicely set, you can also go in with your beauty blender and just make sure everything is pressed into your skin so that it looks real natural. I'm just going to do what I did on the other side because this is all about coloring, not really about wrong technique. So I'm just gonna also press that into my skin. So sometimes for my contour, I do like to highlight underneath my contour. It actually makes it look a lot more precise. So I'm just going to take that same shade that I took for under my eyes for this side, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just tap that underneath my contour so you guys can kind of see. And for that, I'm also just going to brush that down so you don't have a very noticeable line or that under my cheek part is highlighted. Okay, so you can guys kind of see how that looks. And I'm just going to do the exact same thing on this side. Oh, that's so ugly. And I am not saying anybody walks out the house looking like this. I am just showing you guys importance coloring is in this part. So I'm just gonna take that brush and just try and diffuse that. I'm gonna just go ahead and do something to my eyes and apply a little bit of blush. I'm gonna come back and show you guys how to highlight like with an actual highlighter, and I'll be right back just to finish up the video. Alright, so I did just go on ahead and apply a little bit of bronzer into my eyes, some mascara, and then some lip gloss, just so you guys can see how it would look, how I would actually go out looking. So this side is pretty much the side that I would do, and this side is just a hot mess. So I know that a lot of people who have darker skin tones or are just have a darker complexion have a hard time applying highlighters that look like this, like kind of looking frosty highlighters and everything. I find these to look better on my skin tone than I do golds, only because I am already a darker complexion and I already have a yellow undertone. Kind of goes too much with my skin, just like how sometimes a nude lipstick can look too nude because it goes so well with your skin. The gold ones I'm really not too fond of, but they're still extremely beautiful. And I'm just going to show you guys really quickly how it looks on this side and how it looks on this side, because I think it kind of goes in with the whole highlighting and contouring thing. So I'm just going to take this on my Sigma F35 tapered highlighter brush, and I'm gonna take a little bit on there, just like that much, and then I'm also gonna tap off the excess and just lightly dust it on the tops of the cheekbones. And then when you build up intensity, you just build it up little by little. Usually after I do my highlighter, I still push it in with a beauty blender and it doesn't look like it's sitting on top of my skin. So I'm going to take the same highlighter and basically do like a highlighting mistake that we all do, which is applying too much product. The applying technique really isn't what's so bad. What's so bad is applying too much product. So that is it for this video. I really hope you can tell how terrible this side looks. So yeah. Don't leave the house like this. Please like this video and let me know if it helped you out in any way. And also please leave any comments below on things you would like to see next. Please subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from me. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!